everyone, welcome to my channel Biocatalyst 2021. In this video, we will start with the next phylum of kingdom Protista, that is phylum Pyrophyta. All the dinoflagellates are included in this phylum. Let's study the general characteristics of this phylum. These are various characteristics and we will study each characteristic one by one. Most organisms of this phylum are marine, that is, these dinoflagellates are mostly found in salt water, but some of them can be found in fresh water or brackish water. They can also be found in snow or ice, but mostly they are present in salt water. Then the nutrition of these organisms is of three types: autotrophic, heterotrophic and mixotrophic. Autotrophic nutrition, we know that the organism has chlorophyll, so in the presence of sunlight they can prepare their own food. Heterotrophic is when the organism do not contain chlorophyll, so they cannot prepare their own food and they are dependent on other organisms, living or dead, for their nutrition. Now, what is mixotrophic nutrition? Mixotrophic nutrition is that this particular dinoflagellate, if we say that if it is mixotrophic, it means it has both kinds of nutrition, that is autotrophic and heterotrophic. What does that mean then? Autotrophic is when there is ample sunlight, then these organisms in the presence of sunlight can prepare their own food. And they become heterotrophic when either the sunlight is less or there are ample prey to feed on. So these organisms then become heterotrophic. So that's how the nutrition is. It depends on which kind of dinoflagellate we are talking about. Then the next is, let's study the structure of these organisms. These organisms, we all know that these are protists, that is, they are unicellular eukaryotic organisms, that is, they are single-celled organisms. And dinoflagellates, the single cell is surrounded by a plasma membrane and also a cell wall. This cell wall which is surrounded, which makes this dinoflagellate or give them a particular shape, this cell wall is made up of stiff cellulose plates. Now, this stiff cellulose plates are also called thecal plates. So, let's look at the figure below. There is a particular dinoflagellate in this diagram and they have shown the ventral and the dorsal view. So, when we look at this diagram, we see that there are thecal plates written. So, these thecal plates are stiff cellulose plates, and these plates, they act as an armor, or we can say they act as a shield to give protection to the single-celled organism. So, that's what is thecal plate or thecal plates. Then the other striking characteristic of these dinoflagellates is that these organisms have two dissimilar flagella. Now, this is what has given the name of these organisms dinoflagellates, because they have two flagella, or these organisms are also called whirling flagella or flagellates. Now, let's see why are they so called. When we look at the figure, let's look at the ventral view, because both the flagella, they arise from the ventral side. There are two flagella present. One is the longitudinal flagellum, the other one is a transverse flagellum. Longitudinal flagellum lies in a groove, and that groove is called sulcus, and then it runs between the thecal plates from center of one side to the posterior end of the cell. When this posteriorly oriented flagellum, that is the longitudinal flagellum, it beats back and forth, then it propels the dinoflagellate in the opposite direction. So that's how the movement occurs by this particular longitudinal flagellum. The other flagellum which is present is a transverse flagellum, and it is flattened and ribbon-like. This is present in a groove which is called cingulum. Because of the movement or the beating of this particular flagellum, that is the transverse flagellum, the dinoflagellate can turn or maneuver, as well as it can move in forward direction. So that's how these two flagella are present. Both are constructed differently and they both move in a different way. So this is a very striking characteristic of dinoflagellates. These dinoflagellates can cause red tide, which occurs due to its rapid multiplication. So in one of my previous videos, I had already discussed on algal bloom, that algal bloom occurs when a lot of nutrients are present in the water in which that particular algae is present, or the temperature of the water rises. So because these dinoflagellates, mostly they all contain chlorophyll, so they are also considered as a part of algae, and that is why when we call this also a kind of algal bloom. Now what is this actually? That when the nutrients are they rise in the particular water where these dinoflagellates are present, and those nutrients are especially phosphate minerals which are present, but still it is not very the scientists are not very sure about it, that is it just the phosphate or any other nutrient which is present that causes this harmful algal bloom in the water. But still, when the nutrients rise in the water and if the temperature is high, then these particular dinoflagellates, they multiply at a rapid rate, and when they multiply at a rapid rate, then they form a harmful algal bloom, and this algal bloom is called red tide, due to which you can see a reddish or orangish color it appears in water. These when they multiply in such huge amount, then they produce a kind of toxin, and the toxin that is produced by dinoflagellates is called dinotoxin. These toxins are very harmful, most of them, especially when we talk of the particular example of dinoflagellate, that is goniolax. This goniolax, it produces a dinotoxin, a kind of the toxin produced by a dinoflagellate, and its toxin is known as saxitoxin. This toxin is a paralytic neurotoxin. So whichever marine animals which are present in this water, and or the shellfish or any kind of marine animal which is present in this water, they will consume this water, and that particular toxin will enter into their body. So either those marine animals are killed or they are collected in their body, that is, there is bioaccumulation that occurs in these particular animals. And if such animals are consumed by humans or any other animal, then it is highly harmful, because it causes paralytic shellfish poisoning, which is commonly called as PSP. So that is why these are very harmful algal blooms, commonly called red tides, and that is why it is always said that the nutrients should not be poured into water. We should be very careful about these fertilizers that we use, that it should not enter into the any kind of water reservoirs. Now the other striking characteristic is that these dinoflagellates exhibit bioluminescence. Now what is bioluminescence? From the word we can understand bio stands for living organism and luminescence is emitting light. So dinoflagellates, because they are living organism, that is why it's called bioluminescence, that is, they emit light, and the kind of light that these dinoflagellates produce is blue-green light. And how is it produced? It is produced by a chemical reaction using a light emitting molecule called luciferin, which is present in their cell. And this is actually, we can look at the picture how beautiful this it looks actually at night. And why does it turn blue? Because when the waves are moving, then it causes a disturbance to these dinoflagellates, which are present in huge number in these oceans. And so when they are disturbed either by movement, then they start emitting, the chemical reaction occurs and they start emitting light, which is a kind of defense mechanism for these dinoflagellates. And this is actually also present for them to defend themselves from other predators. So if any other predator also comes near them, they just emit this light to protect themselves, and that predator is either it runs away or it is eaten by other higher trophic level, because it gets noticed by other higher trophic level animal. So when these red tides are seen during the day, and at night we can see these beautiful bioluminescent waves. Then the number of species of dinoflagellates which are known till today are more than 2000, and out of which 1700 are marine species and More than 200 are freshwater organisms, and they can be any. They are either they are like they can be parasitic also. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. You have understood all the characteristics of phylum Pyrophyta. If you like my videos, then do subscribe my channel and do not forget to like, share or comment. Thank you.